Why, hello there, wonderful viewer. It's me, DeoGenZ, liberating gradients as we go. It's time to play Blob. I just can't choose a color. Really, anytime I see a paint bot, I tend to run into it, unless, of course, I'm on a mission, doing a challenge, and I'm supposed to be painting buildings a certain type of shade. That's the only exception. Otherwise, I am running, or not really running. No, that's more of a bit trip runner thing, but I am goo-balling it down the street. I'm balling with color to capture the Inked Corporation in their own scheme. Because they never intended this to happen. No, they thought, it'll be a piece of cake. They're a bunch of eggheads. All we gotta do is put them into trapped gray bodysuits and nobody will ever restore the color. Nobody will ever help Chroma City again. There's nobody. There's no Cape Crusaders. There's no superheroes who sling from web-based type grappling hooks, I guess you could call them. It's not really a grappling hook. It's just more of a web-slinging thing. But no, there's none of that in Chroma City. No, these people, these gradients, they're goners. This will be a piece of cake to take over this place. At least that's what they thought until I came around. So today we're going to cross the bridge, and these ink bots, I call them ink bots because they're like drones, no minds of their own. As soon as they see Blob, they're going after me. And they will not stop our progress. Yeah, that statue. That statue looks a little too oppressive to be staying in Chroma City. What with a beating stick in that guy's hand. I think we're gonna have to transform it. Paint over it, if you will. Portray it in a more friendly light. Although, somebody coming at you with a stick raised doesn't really seem like you could change that. But you'd be amazed what a transform engine can do! See, now he's not so threatening. He looks like he's just posing to be the next Statue of Liberty, except his torch is not lit. Because he doesn't have the awesomeness of rusting like the Statue of Liberty does. Actually, is it rusted or... I don't know, it's some kind of reaction, some kind of chemical reaction with the air that makes the Statue of Liberty green. It's not supposed to be green. Man, imagine if you were there when the Statue of Liberty was first erected, how amazingly shiny that thing would have looked. Because what is it, bronze? Or, I don't even know. Copper? It's got to be like copper, something that reacts, something that turns green. But imagine that, just this gigantic shiny woman holding a torch in the middle of your city. It'd be amazing. So those Z-pads right there are a very handy way to get around. In fact, they will be... No! I didn't mean to... Actually, there was nothing really up there. But this Z-pad zone might have something. I think... Aha! Yep, so this challenge is to take the Z-pads up to the top of the bridge and paint those bland-looking posters. No problem. We got it. We'll accept that challenge immediately. But, yeah, they are pinnacle for getting to places that we otherwise could not... No! We otherwise could not blob up to ourselves. It's way too high up. There's no stacked boxes. There's no companion cubes around to assist us. So the Z-pads are your best friend. Alright, Blob, why don't you change the poster to another type? Nope, can't happen. If a poster is a poster, then it's always going to be one set design. And since that was 3 identical posters, it's going to be the same music note. Although that's a badass music note. All graffiti styled. Multiple colors. I didn't want to do that. And no, you cannot Z-jump on pads. Hey, hey! Jeez, freaking cars, man. You could actually sit there all day and paint a bunch of the cars. And I think eventually you will start to see the colorful cars coming back to you. So it is possible to paint all the cars. And if you're going for that 100% run, which I will never do, maybe you need to paint them all. But the Z pads only work when they're on the ground, flat, horizontally positioned. Alright, where's... oh, there it is. Okay. I was gonna say, where did that little blue dude send his markers? And don't take that Z pad. It's tempting. I almost did it. I really did. But then I was like, oh yeah, I gotta follow these things. Follow the fireworks. Up, Blob. Up we go. Up under the bridge to who knows where. Hopefully there's no crazy homeless ink people around here. Imagine that. Somebody who works for Comrade Blech. I think that's his name. You know, he got fired. And now he's still in the servitude. He thinks of that goofy looking statue back there. He thinks that he's still working for that guy. But since he's been kicked out of the club, he's got to stay under the bridge just in case. Hey! Don't try and... Would you... I want my timepieces. But he's just waiting, sitting, hoping that the Blob sits down, slinks down, slimes down a wall to where that fired ink guy would be. And now that we've done everything we can on this bridge, we see that we can go under, we can go over. Oh, that's funny. The little gradient guys, the blue dudes, were doing a breakdance on their head. That's hilarious. So, yeah, I would not want to see homeless inked people down there, because they'd be even more diabolically attackful. Because they've got nothing to lose. They figure, well, doesn't matter, I'm already fired anyway, so I might as well go all out. Just pulls out of his back pocket a giant ink cannon. Try and beat this, Blobber! Ha ha! It won't happen. I'll coat the entire ocean in ink. Which I wish it was that easy, you know. We purified some water back on the past level. It looked like a river that was all dark and inky. I really wish that, you know, environmental science was that simple and we could just simply pump these giant ink monuments full of color, and then all the pollution would go away and everybody would be happy. Yay, no ink in the water. The equivalent of ink obviously would be oil, and since there's no real monument to fill with color, I don't see how that could work. It's unfortunate, but more paint is all we need to purify this area. Imagine that, though. I mean, I have... my father actually works on one of the oil rigs. He was partially responsible for, patching up that horrible gash in the bottom of the sea that was letting out oil. He was responsible for patching that up. Imagine, though, if the way to actually heal the ocean was to go on the oil rigs, find where the engine is, and then pour tons and tons of gallons of paint inside of it. I mean, that would definitely cause more problems in the real world than it would solve in this imaginary paint zone. But that would be pretty funny. Excuse me, got big buckets of paint here, trying to save the world, trying to purify the area. Let me put this couple gallons of paint into your engine, and let's see what happens. No, trust me, I've done this tons of times. I've purified, yeah, the Exxon Valdez, you remember that spill? Yeah, that only got purified when I came around with my gallons of paint. That's the only way to do this, people. It's the only way. Ah, crap. I think we're running out of time, too. Me going on a paint bucket spiel has made me misplace the buildings that we're supposed to actually paint in this world. There's no paint bots up here. That's fine. That's the nice thing about this game, is it doesn't penalize you too hard for missing a challenge on one run. I guess you just get less points for doing it in multiple runs. But the nice thing is it doesn't reset the entire world, so even if these buildings were not all the way painted, the ones that were partially painted are set. So when we redo this challenge, yes, which we will, just gotta get some more paint before we take the challenge, those buildings will already count. Man, that would be crazy. Go to a super fun site, just start pouring paint everywhere. The environmentalists would get pissed off at you. Hey, what are you doing? We're trying to clean up this site, not pour more chemicals on it. Oh, haven't you played Blob? Don't you know this is the best way to purify everything? Just constantly paint over it. Come on, man. You know that's all it takes. You don't need to do all this crazy circumvention with removing the dirty soil and putting good soil back there. Forget it. That's all unnecessary. Really, what you need is a good paint can by your side, and you'll be set. You'll be able to turn mucky areas into a drum set, just like that paint monument that we passed. And if I had known that the buildings were all kind of down here, I wouldn't have taken those Z-pads. Yeah, see, sometimes the Z-pads can get in your way, I guess, if you don't know where you're going, like I clearly don't. I'm just kind of playing along and seeing where it goes. I haven't played the Blob in a couple of years, so forgive me if I am rusty, but the benefit of playing this game after so long is that it's new to me almost. It's brand new, not really. It's fairly familiar, but doing things in the sequence of which they ask, that can get complicated. No, I don't want the yellow paint bot. I so almost did it too. I was like, maybe I'll target that one and get even more paint. But so long as you have enough paint to cover these buildings, to coat everything that is indicated by those green flashing lights, then you're set. You don't have to worry about a damn thing. And we're right next to another challenge. The old brown paint blob is going to ask us to probably clear up that monument for him. So we'll start next episode doing exactly that.